Greetings, Sun Devil Nation, and welcome to this week's edition of Sun Devil Extra. This is the Mountain America Credit Union Sun Devil Radio Network program that each week shines a spotlight on the teams, athletes, coaches, and stories making news in Arizona State University's Sun Devil athletics. Hi, everybody. I'm Tim Healey, the radio play-by-play voice of Sun Devil football, men's basketball, and baseball. And it's my pleasure each week to serve as your host, and we thank you for joining us. And it's my pleasure to, for the second consecutive week, have a co-host joining us on this week's show. As it's a delight to welcome Tesh Rao, Arizona State Senior Associate Athletic Director, to the show. Tesh is in charge, or the sports administrator for 10 different sports at Arizona State. I think we're going to cover most of them in this show. This is a really busy time of year, huh?
Yeah, we got probably 90% of our teams competing right now, and a lot of them performing at a really high level. One
of the teams competing right now is the Sun Devil wrestling team, and we're going to take a deep dive into the Arizona State wrestling program on this week's show, as the Devils are gaining some late season momentum, having won 3 of their last 4 meets, 4 of their last 6. And it's a big time with 3 home meets remaining, all of them, by the way, at Mullet Arena. And coming up later on this week's show, you'll hear from 2 of ASU's top wrestlers, as 3-time All-American 149-pounder Kyle Parco will join us, as will fellow 3-time All-American and 2-time Pac-12 champion heavyweight wrestler Cohlton Schultz. That's coming up a little bit later on. But first, a quick recap of the week in Sun Devil athletics, beginning with a record-breaking performance by Sun Devil freshman golfer Wenyi Ding at last week's Amer Ari Invitational in Hawaii. The young man from Beijing, China, posted a 3-round, 54-hole score of 27 under par, 189. Not only was it good enough to win the individual championship at that tournament, not only was it the lowest 3-round score in Arizona State men's golf history, but Tesh, it was also the lowest 3-round score in NCAA history.
It's unbelievable. What people probably don't realize is Wenyi just showed up in January, and that start that he's had, starting in the Tucson NIT, and then carrying that performance over to Hawaii and just shooting video game numbers, minus 27, is just unreal. Nobody's really seen that before. Yeah. I mean, obviously with it being the record, but talking with Coach Thurman, it's unbelievable to watch.
Yeah, I'll bet it is. And it's not just a one-man band either at Arizona State men's golf, but fueled by Wenyi Ding's brilliant performance over the weekend. The Sun Devils, as a team, posted the best 3-round, 54-hole score in ASU men's golf history. They finished the tournament 63 under par and stunningly finished second behind North Carolina, which was 68 under par.
Yeah, the guys are competing at such a high level right now, and just cracking that lineup is super difficult. We have amazing golfers and amazing depth right now. Preston Summerhays, Josele Ballester. We have a freshman, Connor, who just performed really well, and Michael, just awesome tournaments. And so, I expect really great things going forward with this team. They're competing really well.
Boy, Matt Thurman sure has a knack for finding talent, and he looks like he's got a bunch of it on this year's Arizona State men's golf team. You know what? It also was a record-setting weekend for the Sun Devil women's water polo program, as the 7th-ranked Devils won all 4 of their matches at the ASU Invitational this past weekend at the Mona Plummer Aquatic Center, as Arizona State improves to 11-1 on the season. Now, in Saturday's 23-7 victory over Marist, Sun Devils senior attacker Lutza Petovari set an all-time ASU single-game record with 9 goals against Marist. The 9 goals also tied the Mountain Pacific Sports Federation single-game record. Lutza also had 3 assists in that match against Marist. That gave her 12 points for the game, and that tied her for the second highest single-game scoring total in Arizona State history. In addition, in a win over 19th-ranked San Jose State last weekend, defender Laura Kiss had 3 assists, and she now is the all-time ASU career leader in assists. Quite a weekend for Coach Petra Party's program, huh?
Coach Petra's doing an amazing job, just really being a great leader and motivating these kids to be the best that they can be, and obviously the results are showing.
And water polo will be on the road this weekend. They'll be in Los Angeles to take on 17th ranked UCLA and Cal State Fullerton this coming Saturday, February 17th in Los Angeles. The Sun Devil women's lacrosse team opened its season last weekend and did so in fine fashion, winning a couple of games at Sun Devil Soccer and Lacrosse Stadium here on campus. A 21-10 victory over Xavier, a 17-10 win over Niagara. A good start to year 2 under Coach Taryn Van Thaw.
Yeah, Coach Taryn's must be the new baby in the house. So she's excited, she's motivated, and she's really inspiring these kids to perform at a high level, and that's a great start for that program.
The Sun Devil lacrosse team will be at home again this week, hosting Pittsburgh on Thursday, February 15th. Again, that will be at Sun Devil Soccer and Lacrosse Stadium. The 2024 Sun Devil baseball season gets underway this weekend. How about that? Year 3 of the Willie Bloomquist era of Arizona State baseball will start off with a 3-game home series against the Santa Clara Broncos out of the West Coast Conference. Santa Clara won the WCC Tournament Championship a year ago, which punched their ticket into the NCAA tournament. They went to the Fayetteville Regional in Arkansas and knocked out the Arizona Wildcats in that regional in Fayetteville. I know Coach Willie Bloomquist thinks his club this year has the potential to be elite offensively. Once again, a lot of returning players. The question will be, can the Sun Devils get good production from a talented but young pitching staff that features a lot of newcomers?
Yeah, Coach Willie's he's done a great job building that foundation and really setting this team up for a lot of success. And hopefully these young kids can produce on the mound, and we match the offensive effort with good pitching, and we should be just fine. One
thing that Coach Bloomquist has done this year, he has really ratcheted up the competition level of the non-conference schedule, as indicated by the opening series against an NCAA regional team from a year ago, the Santa Clara Broncos. Games Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at Phoenix Municipal Stadium. And I'm happy and proud to say that I will begin my 25th year behind the mic, providing the play-by-play on radio broadcasts of Sun Devil baseball in 2024. And for the 9th straight year, it will be my pleasure to work alongside of former ASU catcher Max Rossiter. We will be broadcasting the Sun Devil season opening game with Santa Clara this coming Friday night, February 16th. Our pregame coverage will begin at 6:15, first pitch approximately 6:30, and the broadcast can be heard on Friday on KAZG 1440 AM and the Sun Devil Radio Network. We hope you'll make plans to join us. All told, we're going to be carrying close to 43 Sun Devil baseball games on the radio this season. ASU's other Diamond Devils will also be busy this weekend as Sun Devil softball, off to a 2-2 start on the year, will host its annual Littlewood Classic at Farrington Stadium, the Classic named in honor of the legendary former head coach of the Sun Devil softball program, Mary Littlewood. Present-day Sun Devil coach Megan Bartlett will send her team out to the field to play 5 games in 4 days against BYU, Virginia Tech, Illinois State, Memphis, and Cal State Fullerton. A busy weekend for softball.
Yeah, and we had a little bit of a weather issue over in our.
So I hear.
Yeah, just a little bit. But Coach Bartlett's done an amazing job. It's hard not to root for her. So come out and support her and the program. We're battling through some injuries, but we're going to field a really competitive team, and they're going to try hard, and this will be a good test for them.
We had Megan Bartlett and slugger Jordan Van Hook on the show a couple of weeks ago. Great gals, and you really do cheer for them, don't you?
Absolutely.
Yep. There'll be a lot of home hoops in store for Sun Devil fans here in the next couple of weeks. The ASU men on Wednesday night with a home game against Oregon State at Desert Financial Arena will begin a stretch in which they will play 4 of their next 5 games at home, with the one road game in that stretch being a trip down to Tucson this coming Saturday, February 17th, to take on those 5th-ranked Arizona Wildcats. The Sun Devils, in addition to Oregon State on Wednesday, will host Washington on Thursday, February 22nd, and that'll be followed by the final 2 home games, which come against, arguably, the 2 best teams in the Pac-12. As Saturday, February 24th, the Devils will host the surprising Washington State Cougars, who are in 2nd place in the conference standings. And then a few days later, on Wednesday, February 28th, the home finale, the return match against those number 5 Arizona Wildcats. A busy couple of weeks for men's hoops, and luckily for them, most of those games on the home floor.
We really need a lot of support. You know, if we can show up and support like we did for the USC match, and you know, come out and be loud, and those guys can make a little bit of a run here and set themselves up for the Pac-12 tournament. And let's go get some W's here.
I hope the fans realize what an impact they can have on the team's performance.
It's monumental. Just having that level of support, players love to play in front of people, so come out and support.
Yeah, we saw that when the USC game about a month ago, 13,000 plus filling Desert Financial, and the Sun Devils turned in one of their best performances of the year. Meanwhile, the ASU women's basketball team will finish its regular season with 4 of its last 6 games at home. The Sun Devils of Coach Natasha Adair have been road warriors the last couple of weeks. They've played a lot on the road, so it's good for them to be back home for 4 of their last 6, including games this weekend. Friday night, February 16th, the Washington Huskies will be at Desert Financial for a 6 p.m. tip, and then Sunday at 12 noon, the Washington State Cougars. And even though the losses have occurred, Natasha's team has shown some improvement over the last couple of weeks.
There's a lot of progress being made on that team, and a lot of it's, you know, just in the mindset and the culture that they're building. But they're definitely more competitive than they were last season, and they've learned sort of the system that she's trying to build. And even though we had, you know, the 2 losses in California over the weekend, they learned a lot. Yeah. And they're going to come back, and one of our wins in the Pac-12 is against Washington, so let's go do it again. And like I said before, we need everybody's support out there and cheering on these kids as they go compete.
Yeah, we sure do. So basketball, men's and women's, will be at home this weekend. One team that's about to hit the road, the Sun Devil men's tennis team of Coach Matt Hill, but it's in a good way. They are heading to the Big Apple, New York City, Columbia University, where this weekend they will compete in the ITA Indoor National Championships. This weekend, the Sun Devils punching their ticket to the Big Apple after winning the Starkville, Mississippi ITA Regional earlier.
Yeah, that was a huge win for us, and going into New York City to compete against, you know, as part of the top 16 teams in the country at the National Indoors is really a great thing for this program. Murphy Cohlton is just playing lights out right now, one of the best players in the country. So if you guys want to see, you know, future professional ATP players, come out to, you know, cheer on the Sun Devil men's tennis team, because a lot of these guys will be on the pro tour, and you get to see them for free.
And it'd be kind of good, I think, for the program and for Murphy Cohlton that he gets that exposure in a media market such as New York City at a tournament like this.
Yeah, he's competed really well in the national championships, and I think he's got a good shot.
Wrestling is we mentioned earlier, starting to gather some late season momentum as Coach Zeke Jones' Sun Devils have won 3 of their last 4 and 4 of their last 6 meets, and they have 3 remaining on the schedule, 3 home meets, all of them at home and all of them at Mullet Arena. The Sun Devils will take on Stanford this coming Saturday, February 17th, with a 1 o'clock start. The following Saturday, February 24th, ASU will host Lehigh University from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, a perennial powerhouse in wrestling. And then the following day, Sunday, February 25th, a 1 p.m. match against the Nebraska Cornhuskers. And again, all of them at Mullet Arena. And Tesh, I'd imagine the guys are pretty pumped to be wrestling not only in front of the home fans, but in that beautiful facility across the street.
Yeah, that venue is just so perfect for a wrestling meet, and the guys are super excited. And once again, you get a chance to go watch, you know, future Olympians. Cohlton's got a great shot at making the Olympic team. And,
yeah.
You know, just come out and cheer them on, be loud, and let's go win.
Yeah, for sure. He mentions Cohlton, and you're going to meet him in just a minute. But first of all, Tesh, great having you on the show today. Great job, partner.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Tesh Rao, Sun Devil Senior Associate Athletic Director, our guest co-host on this week's edition of Sun Devil Extra. Coming up, we will take a deep dive into Sun Devil wrestling as we visit with Cohlton Schultz, the Sun Devils' terrific heavyweight. A little bit later on in the show, up next, you will meet 3-time All-American 149-pounder Kyle Parco. But first, let's take a timeout for these messages. This is Sun Devil Extra from the Mountain America Credit Union Sun Devil Radio Network. We continue now with this week's edition of Sun Devil Extra from the Mountain America Credit Union Sun Devil Radio Network. I'm Tim Healey, your host. Glad you joined us this week. With wins in 4 of their last 6 meets and with their final 3 meets of the season, all at home, all at Mullet Arena on campus, the Sun Devil wrestling team is poised to author a strong finish to their 2023-2024 season. One of the prominent characters in the story of Sun Devil wrestling this year and for the past few years is our first guest on this week's show. A 3-time All-American both at Fresno State and for the past 3 years here at Arizona State, he recently achieved a special career milestone when he posted the 100th match win of his terrific collegiate wrestling career. He's now 16-2 on this season, tied with 157-pounder Ja'Cory Teamer for the most wins on the team this year with 16, and he has been ranked as high as 3rd nationally in the 149-pound weight class this year. He comes from Danville, California, and it's a pleasure to welcome 3-time All-American Kyle Parco to the show. Kyle, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. I feel like that was a great introduction. I've never been introduced like that before. That's good.
Well, you paid me enough for it, so, I should, right? No, just kidding. Hey, 102 career wins now. What did it mean to you to achieve that milestone and getting over 100 wins in your career?
It was really cool. I didn't actually know that I got to 100 until after that match.
Really?
Yeah, my high school coach texted me and he's like, "Hey, congrats on 100 wins." I was like, 100? I didn't even know that.
Seriously, that's crazy.
Yeah, I think I've seen a lot of other people get it. I think the last person I saw get 100 was Mikkel McGee, and I think I would just see that and be like, "Wow, that's a lot." I didn't even know that I was even close, but getting to 100 is great. It kind of solidifies what I've done in the sport, and we're gonna keep on building on it.
Been around a long time when you get 100 wins,
Yeah,
haven't you?
Yep. Been wrestling for a while, but we're not trying to get 100 wins. I'm trying to get that national championship. So I think that's just a step closer to getting there.
And we'll talk about that later. But your most recent win was a special one last Friday in San Luis Obispo, California. Beautiful town on the California coast. Cal Poly located there, and you defeated Cal Poly's Chance Lamer in the 149-pound match, the number 5 ranked in his weight class this year. How special was that? Reflect on that match for us.
I think it was a good win. I haven't really had the chance to wrestle that many highly ranked people this year, so I was excited for that. Whenever you get to wrestle a guy that good, it's a good opportunity to wrestle hard and kind of put everything that I've been doing in practice in an actual match. But I'd wrestled him once before, so I think I had a good match that last time. But it was a really good match technically for me, but I think I still got a lot of things to work on if I want to widen that gap between me and some other guys. But he was a good competitor, so I'm sure I'll run into again.
Yeah.
In Pac-12s.
Right. What was the key in the match, do you think? What were you trying to accomplish to beat him?
I think a big thing was he comes forward a lot and he attacks a lot. So kind of just weathering that storm and then finding my attacks and kind of not getting lulled into the pressure, his pressure.
Right.
But yeah, I think I found my shots pretty well. The third period, I could have wrestled a lot better, but learning those things is what makes me better throughout the year. So it was a good match.
Absolutely. Well, as we mentioned, your team's generating some momentum now. You've won 3 of your last 4, 4 of your last 6, and a couple of those wins have come against Pac-12 opponents like Cal Poly and Oregon State in a thriller. What's the vibe in the room now? What did you feel like? To what would you attribute this late season surge?
I think a big part of it was a wake-up call from Little Rock. The Little Rock was a team that we kind of underestimated and we always expect to beat. And then we walked in there and they beat us in something that we didn't expect. So it was a wake-up call. Zeke has been talking about, that was a Friday duel. We wrestled at Little Rock. We lost, and we were all pretty upset. And then we wrestled again on Sunday against Pittsburgh. We kind of flipped it around. We wrestled a little bit different. But I think that loss kind of was like a nip in the butt to change some things, to train a little bit harder, to not be satisfied with what we've been doing. But I think we can attribute that late success to that match. It's kind of keeping us on our toes.
Yeah.
So I think we've been doing pretty good.
From the outside looking in, it almost seems like another key is the fact that you're starting to get healthier as a team once again. Just in the last couple of weeks, you've gotten 141-pounder Jesse Vasquez back. He's been out since what, November, I think?
Since the beginning of the year.
And 165-pounder Tony Negron, he's been out for about a month. Getting healthier certainly helps, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. Everyone's injured in this sport. Everyone's dealing with something.
Sure.
But it always seems that we always have a bunch of guys out when we need them. But then, at the end of the year, that's when we really need them. I think they're stepping in at the right time. Jesse's looking great. He's a killer. Looked great against Cal Poly. Tony's still getting into his rhythm. He's looking good. He's getting healthy. Just the big part towards the end of the year is just getting through the season and making sure we're competing at the right time. So I think we're doing that. And
you're going to get to compete the last 3 matches at home and in Mullet Arena and against good competition. You got Stanford. Lehigh, fans should be aware, hopefully I know wrestling fans are, what a good program Lehigh is. As a Penn State graduate, I know that Lehigh is a powerhouse in wrestling, and Nebraska as well. What do the guys feel? Is it going to be kind of cool to wrestle at Mullet? You like wrestling over there?
Yeah, I think we're all hyped to wrestle at home finally. We've been on the road for so long.
Yeah.
But finally get to come home, not have to travel, kind of feel the energy from the home crowd. It's really exciting. And we got 3 really good teams coming. We got Stanford. Nebraska is a big one we're all looking forward to. Really, really good team. And I think we're just looking to fight really hard. We're looking to show people that we're here. We can win these matches. We can win these duels, but we're excited.
How do you look back on your Arizona State career? As we said, you started your career at Fresno State. I think you had 2 years there. Came here in the last 3 and have done great things, as we mentioned at the beginning of this segment, over 100 career wins. How do you reflect back on your Sun Devil years?
I think overall it's just I've been really thankful to even put on the Arizona State singlet. There's a lot of people before us that have kind of cemented a legacy, cemented the expectations of this team. And it's been really fun kind of upholding that legacy and competing really hard. It's been really fun, I think, when I think back, to compete on a team with a lot of good guys. Starting at Fresno was a good experience. I loved it there, but coming here and being on a team with, a bunch of other All-Americans is super fun. I remember that first year I was here, we were killing everyone, and we had 5, 6 All-Americans on the team, and that was a really good feeling. So I think just continuing that legacy and kind of giving that off to the next set of people that are coming through it's really exciting. It's an honor.
And you talk about the people who set the legacy. You just have to look as far as your head coach. Not only is Zeke Jones a terrific coach, but he was one of the all-time great wrestlers in the history of this program. What has it been like wrestling for Zeke? What have you learned and absorbed from him?
There's so much technically I can learn from him. But I came to Arizona State because, the coaching staff was great. Zeke Jones is one of the best technicians in the sport. That's a big reason why I came here. But it's interesting day to day just learning his techniques and also just learning about the process of training, peaking at the right time. But he's a real scientist when it comes to the sport. So I have a lot to gain from that, and I've learned so much about, like I said, the process of wrestling, just getting better. So I think I landed in a really good spot, and Coach Zeke is a legend in the sport for sure.
That he sure is. All right, you've had a lot of great success in your career, Kyle. What would it mean to you to add the final line to that resume and win an NCAA championship at 149 pounds?
I think it means that I think all my life's work, everything that I've been building up to since I was a young kid, coming to fruition, and everything that I've been working for kind of solidifying and coming to all my vision and all my dreams are coming true. So being at the top of the podium is something I've been thinking about every single day. That's what I've set my sights on for the past however many years. So it would mean the world to me, and I know I'm going to get it.
And what would it mean to have your team hoist a trophy in Kansas City, which is the site of the NCAA Wrestling Championships this year? They take place in the latter part of March. What would that mean, and what will it take for the Sun Devils to get on that podium?
I think it's going to take all of us. The past years we've gotten a trophy. It takes everyone. It takes everyone from every single round, every single, consolation championship. But it's going to take every single person in the lineup. It's not going to be just a core 3 or 4 guys. It's going to take the whole 10 lineup. But I think it would just, like I said, with a personal national championship for me, it would just mean everything that as a team we've been working towards is paying off. We've been putting in the work. We work super hard, and I think we want it just as bad as anyone else in the country. So it would mean a great deal to all the boys on the team and make us all real happy. And bringing it back to Tempe would be great.
Oh, wouldn't it ever? Well, I'll tell you what, you crushed this segment, my friend. Kudos on all you've accomplished in your career, and here's hoping you get that trophy and your team brings a trophy in March. Thanks for the visit, Kyle.
Yep.
Best of luck to you, my friend.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That's Kyle Parco, Sun Devil All-American, 149-pounder, our guest on this segment of Sun Devil Extra. Coming up, we'll close out this week's show with a visit from one of Kyle's ASU teammates as Arizona State's three-time All-American heavyweight Cohlton Schultz will drop by for a visit. But first, this time out, this is Sun Devil Extra from the Mountain America Credit Union Sun Devil Radio Network. Welcome back to the final segment of this week's edition of Sun Devil Extra from the Mountain America Credit Union Sun Devil Radio Network. I'm Tim Healey, the radio play-by-play voice of the Sun Devils, and your host. Delighted that you took time to join us this week. As we continue with our discussion of Sun Devil wrestling on this week's show, we now welcome to the program one of the most decorated wrestlers in recent Arizona State history, a three-time All-American and two-time Pac-12 champion in the heavyweight class. He has also represented himself, ASU, and the United States in numerous international wrestling competitions over the years. He has been ranked as high as third nationally in the heavyweight class this season, and he's won his last 6 matches in a row. He came to ASU from Parco, Colorado, as one of the most heavily recruited wrestlers in recent Sun Devil history, and we're delighted to welcome Cohlton Schultz to the show. We did a show with you on Zoom a couple weeks ago. Good to see you in person, man.
Thank you. Nice
How you
to be
been?
here. But can't complain. Just we're in the heart of the wrestling season. It's always a fun time of the year.
You kind of mirror your team on a late season roll. You've won 6 matches in a row. Your team has won 3 out of 4 and 4 out of 6. What's the vibe you're getting from your team as you head on down the stretch of this season?
Yeah, it's an exciting time. We had a little slow start. I was out of the lineup for a little bit. Still chasing the Olympic team, but it's great to have a full lineup right now. And we're starting to really hit our stride. Everyone's starting to fire on all cylinders. And it's happening at a good time as we start rolling into the postseason pretty soon.
For sure. This is the best time to get hot, for sure. And in the previous segment, we visited with your terrific 149-pound teammate, Kyle Parco. And Kyle mentioned a couple things like guys getting healthy and also a kind of reality moment, if you will, a loss to Little Rock that seemed to get this team redirected. How'd you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, perfect world, it'd be great to be able to win them all. But unfortunately, you kind of need a rough loss like that sometimes to kick you in the butt and get everyone to figure it out. It stinks having to take a loss, but I think a lot of growth and a lot of good has come from it already.
I want to take you back to a match a couple weeks ago against one of your Pac-12 opponents, the Oregon State Beavers, and it was a thrilling match, 17-16. Oregon State, I believe, was leading coming into the final match of the evening, and it's your heavyweight match against the Beavers' Boone McDermott, and you were able to get the win and get the team win in the process. Share with me your reflections on that. What is that like, where you know that all your week's work and the entire match has come down to you to winning your individual match out there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm blessed. It's a heavyweight's dream, being in a tight duel like that. I've been in plenty of them now where it comes down to me. I think I'm just grateful for the work everyone else put in to be able to get us in that spot. Make it easy for me. All I got to do is win a match. I can go figure that out. So it was a fun duel. It's always nice getting a win over them. It was a blast. I'm glad I was able to put the final nail in the coffin for it.
That's really cool. Obviously, you exude a lot of confidence, as you should, with the background and the history you have. How about the team? Do you get the sense your guys are getting more confident heading down the stretch with the wins you've had?
Yeah. I think those tough duels, being able to sneak them out, pull out a tough win, I think that gives you more confidence. Especially as we get closer to postseason, you start seeing a lot of the same guys, and you get real familiar with the kind of guys you get to wrestle and the caliber of opponents. I think it's great getting a few wins to roll into that. And like you were saying, with everybody getting healthy, it's been tremendous to be able to see how good our team can really get. And we still have a few more weeks before we got be at our absolute A game, but we're getting there. We're inching closer and closer.
And a couple of the weeks that will transpire in between, we'll see this team 3 times in its final 3 meets of the season, wrestling not only at home, but at beautiful, brand new, 2-year-old, right, Mullet Arena, the home of Sun Devil hockey. It'll be the home of Sun Devil wrestling for their last 3 meets of the year against Stanford this coming Saturday, February 17th, 1 p.m. Next Saturday, February 24th against Lehigh, and then the following day, Sunday, February 25th, Nebraska. What's it going to be like wrestling in that venue, in front of your fans, against 3 good opponents?
Yeah, I mean, Mullet's a phenomenal venue. It's great. So the crowd's energy, you can really feel it in there. And they really let you hear it. It's a blast, and it's an honor to be able to compete in front of great fans in a great arena.
Yep. Now, as you indicated, you want to be at your best about a month from now for the NCAA championships, which this year will take place in Kansas City. This team has had some podium finishes in the NCAA championships in recent years. What will it take, in your opinion, Cohlton, to hoist the trophy?
Yeah, I mean, break it down real simple. It takes a lot of winning. Everybody's individually's got to be firing all cylinders. Everyone's got to do their part. And if we really want to surprise a lot of people, you got to get some people to win the matches you're not supposed to, the matches that maybe people aren't expecting you to. Mm-hmm. But, I look up and down the lineup, and I got full confidence. Everyone on our team is capable of pulling off those big upsets and pulling off some big wins. We sneak out a couple ugly ones here and there, and sure enough, we'll be able to hoist up a trophy.
We asked Kyle Parco in the previous segment, and I'll ask you, what would it mean to you in terms of your career, your resume, to be an individual national heavyweight champion?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be huge. I've been close. I sniffed the finals, but it'd be a real treat. I mean, that's what everyone dreams of when you're a little kid, and everybody sitting in the TV watching all the national champions get crowned. It's a goal everyone's had since the beginning. Yeah. So be able to pull it off will be fun.
How would winning an NCAA heavyweight championship compare for you as opposed to maybe winning a championship at one of the international competitions in which you've participated over the years? It's
different. Competing with a college team, I think the team atmosphere and the camaraderie you get with your teammates. We're in the room every day together. Those are my brothers. So it's different. It really means more on like an emotional level.
Yeah.
Being able to pull out those wins together. The individual goals are cool, but I think winning team trophies and pulling out big wins as a team, it hits different.
Yeah, that's really a great insight on that question. Zeke Jones, we talked with Kyle about this as well. I mean, getting to wrestle not only for a great coach, but a guy who is an icon in this program. What has that experience been like for you, and what have you taken away from your time with Zeke? Yeah,
I mean, he's one of the best to ever do it, that's for sure. As a competitor, he's a champion, and then as a coach, he's been real instrumental in all my success. It's been a blast, and we still got more time to keep fulfilling our goals and keep killing it. But yeah, he's the best there is when it comes to all the planning and organizing from the ground up to put our program where it's at. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's just going to keep getting better.
How have you, in your opinion, evolved not only as a wrestler but as a person in your time at Arizona State?
Yeah, it's been fun. Coming in, 18-year-old guy or whatever. You're part of the team. You're just another guy in the room. But you start stepping into different roles, and the more you're winning, the more you start taking up these leadership roles, and it becomes a responsibility to kind of pass on all that same wisdom that you've been gathering from all these coaches and all their experiences. You start passing those on to the next guy, and the future of the program you start thinking about it a little more.
Yeah.
Starting passing on, making sure that Sun Devil Wrestling stays a powerhouse forever.
Don't you get the sense this program's in a good place though, moving forward?
Yeah, we're in a great place. I think it's just going to keep growing.
Yep. Well, we wish you all the best in the remaining days of this season and in postseason as well. Hopefully you, Kyle, and your teammates will get to hoist a bunch of trophies in Kansas City come mid-March. Thanks for the visit, Cohlton. All the best to you.
Thank you.
That's Sun Devil Heavyweight Wrestling All-American Cohlton Schultz, our guest on this final segment of Sun Devil Extra. With that, we bring down the curtain on this week's show, and we thank you so much for joining us. A few other thank yous before we leave. Thanks to our executive producer, Arizona State Senior Associate Athletic Director Doug Tamaro, for his help. Thanks to our engineer, producer / technical director Sean Crespin of the Sun Devil Radio Network for his assistance. And a special thank you to Griffin Fabitz of the Arizona State Sports Information Office for his help on this week's show. We will be back next week with another edition of Sun Devil Extra, and we hope you'll make plans to join us. Till then, I'm Tim Healey. Thanks for watching. So long, everybody.